Lewis Hamilton may be forced to miss next weekend's Canadian Grand Prix due to back problems, which has left the British driver praying for the race in Azerbaijan to conclude on Sunday. Toto Wolff, Hamilton's Mercedes manager, made the startling statement about his star driver seconds after the round on the streets of Baku, which was won by Red Bull's Max Verstappen. Despite his progression in finishing top 4, there are concerns as to how Lewis Hamilton will be able to defend his title in the Canadian Grand Prix. I will be discussing this in detail in today's video. Stay with me till the end of the video to learn more. Don't forget to like the video, share, and subscribe to our channel if you haven't done so yet. When asked if there was a danger Hamilton will not be able to compete in Montreal, Wolff said, "Yes, definitely. He is really bad. You can see this is not muscular anymore. It goes properly into the spine and it can have some consequences. The solution could be to have someone on reserve, which we anyway have at every race." If Hamilton is ruled out, Mercedes will turn to Stoffel Vandoorne, a Belgian who spent 2 seasons with McLaren, and Formula E winner Nick de Vries. Hamilton started 8th and ended 4th, but with 22 of the 51 laps remaining, he screamed over the radio, my back is killing me, man." The 7-time world champion finished 71 seconds behind Verstappen and struggled to exit his cockpit after the race. Later, he acknowledged having reservations about reaching the checkered flag. "There were a lot of moments when I didn't know whether I was going to make it and if I was going to be able to keep the car on track," said Hamilton. "That was the most painful and toughest race I have experienced. I was just holding and biting down on my teeth due to the pain. The adrenaline helped, but I cannot express the pain that you experience, particularly on the straight here. I was just praying for it to end." On the eve of Sunday's race, Hamilton's teammate and third-place finisher George Russell dubbed the current generation of F1 vehicles dangerous and a recipe for disaster. The issue for Mercedes and a number of other teams, though not all, is the new for 2022 occurrence of porpoising, which involves the vehicle bouncing on its suspension at high speeds. Hamilton continued, "The battle with the car was intense. The thing was bouncing so much that I was nearly going into the wall. There is a safety concern about bashing into a wall at 180 miles per hour, and I don't think I've ever had to think about that too much as a racing driver. It is a very strange experience." After the race on Sunday, Hamilton was evaluated by his physio, Angela Cullen of New Zealand. He has also received acupuncture therapy and cryotherapy, or freezing chamber treatment, to help with his back troubles. Hamilton added, "I go in and it's bloody cold, and I have to go internal and say, 'You can.' It's the same sort of thing, just biting down and grinning with it. In the race, I had to think of all the people that rely on me to get those points, and that is really what I was focused on. But this is definitely the worst for me. I haven't had it this bad this year." Despite his health issues, Hamilton's performance on Sunday was his strongest since the first race in Bahrain, yet it was another day when he trailed Russell. Since the first race, Hamilton has finished behind Russell in every round and is 37 points behind him in the standings. Wolff, in an apologetic radio message to Hamilton, said, "Lewis, we all know this is a bit of a shitbox to drive and sorry for the back. We will sort ourselves out." Russell, who is 13 years younger than Lewis Hamilton, did not appear to have any back problems as he celebrated his 3rd podium in Mercedes colors. "You have got to be there at the end to pick up the pieces," said the ever-impressive Russell, who remains the only driver to finish in the top 5 at each of the 8 rounds this year. "The cars are going through a torrid time with the bouncing, and I was just pleased to bring it home in 3rd. If you were to go into the history of this specific F1 Grand Prix, you would have to go back to 2019, because there were no races in 2020 or 2021 due to the epidemic. Looking back at the 2019 version may offer viewers an idea of who may be regarded as the favorite to win the Canadian GP. However, it could be argued that a lot has changed since the event almost 3 years ago. After starting second on the grid, Hamilton won the race with a timing of 1 hour, 29 minutes, 7.084 seconds, defeating Sebastian Vettel, then of Ferrari, by 3.658 seconds. Those who remember watching the race will recall that the German had really finished first. Instead, in the 57th lap of the race, Vettel was reprimanded and given a 5-second penalty after being found guilty of rejoining the track in a dangerous way, forcing Hamilton off the track in the process, an event that occurred in the 48th lap. Vettel and Ferrari were dissatisfied with the judgment and filed an appeal, but the decision was upheld. Even to this day, some consider the episode to be rather contentious. Surprisingly, Leclerc finished 3rd in the 2019 GP, while Verstappen came in 5th. It seems likely that barring any further technical setbacks with their vehicles, they will finish higher on the scoreboard at the end of the race this time. However, as previously said, there is still plenty of time until the race, so much more may happen between now and June 19th. It is a little early to predict who will win the Canadian Grand Prix next month. Nonetheless, you can bet that many people will be considering who they will vote for. There have been modifications to the way Canadians in Ontario can bet these days as a result of adjustments to earlier rules. Indeed, sports betting for Ontario bettors has lately been entirely revolutionized, and this will likely inspire more and more punters in the most populous province to put a stake when the world's finest come racing through Montreal. Those who like to wager may consider names such as Verstappen, Lewis Hamilton, Charles Leclerc, and others. However, it must be assumed that one of the three aforementioned drivers will be part of the fight for the win. However, each of them has had troubles with their vehicles this season, even when things were looking up in their respective ways. Nonetheless, this has just heightened the viewing experiences and drama that we racing fans enjoy seeing unfold on the track, making the sport even more fascinating. If Lewis Hamilton is unable to compete in the Canadian Grand Prix, Dutchman Nick de Vries is the most obvious option. De Vries, who is now a test and reserve driver for Mercedes, also races for the Silver Arrows in Formula E, where he is the defending world champion. The 27-year-old former Formula 2 champion is now 6th in the standings, 56 points behind teammate and Mercedes reserve driver Stoffel van Dorn. More on him later. Nonetheless, De Vries has won a race this season, and he has recent F1 race weekend experience, having deputized for Williams driver Alex Albon during a Spanish Grand Prix practice session last month. The Dutch driver was mentioned as a possible substitute for Hamilton at the Monaco Grand Prix and would be among Mercedes' top choices if the 7-time world champion were to withdraw next week. Despite a rough start to the season, Mercedes technical director Mike Elliott indicated last few weeks that the team has not given up on retaining its Formula One Constructors title. The team, which has won the past 8 world championships, is 3rd overall and 63 points behind leaders Ferrari after 5 races, with Red Bull 2nd and 57 points ahead of Mercedes. Of course, we wouldn't be here otherwise, Elliott said when asked at the Spanish Grand Prix whether Mercedes believed they could still win the 2022 championship. Until it's mathematically over, it's not over. We're not a huge distance behind. If we can get the car to a position where we're competitive and hopefully out in front, then there's every chance. But we've got to have a level of humility. These guys, Red Bull, have made a really good start. Ferrari have made a really good start, and they are not going to be easy to chase down. Red Bull's defending world champion Max Verstappen has won 3 of the 5 races, with Ferrari's championship leader Charles Leclerc winning the other 2. Lewis Hamilton, the 7-time world champion, who fought to the final lap of the 2021 race, is 68 points behind Leclerc and 23 points behind his Mercedes teammate George Russell. However, Mercedes' spirits have been lifted by improvements to their car in Barcelona, which look to have decreased the degree of bouncing previously experienced. Elliott said, "We felt like we made a good step forward yesterday. The car seemed a lot more settled. It did what we were hoping for it to do." Elliott said chasing their rivals was a healthy challenge. "It's quite nice to be coming from behind. There's a chunk of pressure, but it's been amazing to see the amount of effort at the factory," he said. Will Lewis Hamilton make it to the Canadian GP? Leave your thoughts in the comment section. Thank you for staying with me till the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, like and share the video. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon. Bye!